The coral reef hid something far more dangerous than sharks. I could see the jagged brown teeth of the reef stretching across our path like God's own barbed wire, and beyond it, the dark line of Betio Island shimmering in the morning heat. My Higgins boat, LCVP 1442, rode heavy in the swells with 36 Marines from the 2nd Battalion, 2nd Marine Regiment packed shoulder to shoulder in her belly. The date was November 20, 1943, and I was about to discover that all our planning, all our confidence, all our prayers wouldn't mean a thing once we hit that reef. My name is John Jack Henderson, Coxswain First Class, United States Navy, and I've been running landing craft for 2 years. I thought he knew what I was doing. I thought we all did. The coral reef at Tarawa was supposed to have 5 feet of water over it at high tide, enough for our boats to clear it with room to spare. Instead, as we approached at 0900 hours that morning, I could see the brown coral heads breaking the surface like the backs of sleeping whales. The tide tables had lied to us, or maybe the Pacific had decided to play a different game entirely, muttered Sergeant Mike Ryan from the 2nd Marines, his weathered face pressed against the gunwale as he stared at the reef ahead. We're going to have to wade in from here, boys. The sound of our engines, dozens of them, filled the air with a mechanical symphony that should have been reassuring. Instead, it felt like a funeral dirge. Behind us, the massive shapes of our transports, the Maryland, Colorado, and Zealand, sat like steel mountains on the horizon. We'd spent 3 days transferring from those ships into our landing craft, and now here we were, 500 yards from Betio Island, staring at a coral wall that might as well have been the gates of hell. It had all started so confidently 3 months earlier when Admiral Chester Nimitz himself had outlined Operation Galvanic to us at Pearl Harbor. Tarawa Atoll was to be our stepping stone deeper into the Central Pacific, a tiny speck of coral and sand that would bring us 1,000 miles closer to Japan. The main objective was Betio Island, 2 miles long, 800 yards at its widest point, shaped like a bird with its head pointing west toward the lagoon entrance. Gentlemen, Admiral Harry Hill had told us during the final briefing aboard the Maryland 3 days before, Betio is the most heavily fortified piece of real estate in the Pacific. But after our bombardment, there won't be anything left alive on that island. The numbers had seemed overwhelming in our favor. For 3 hours before the landing, our battleships Maryland and Colorado would pound Betio with their 16-inch guns. The heavy cruiser Portland and light cruisers Birmingham and Mobile would add their firepower. Carrier aircraft from Task Force 50 would make bombing runs every few minutes. We calculated that each acre of Betio would receive 5 tons of explosives. Rear Admiral Keiji Shibasaki and his 4,836 Japanese defenders wouldn't stand a chance. Or so we believed. I'd been assigned to Transport Company F, 2nd Battalion, 2nd Marine Regiment, part of the second wave assault. My passengers included Sergeant Ryan, a veteran of Guadalcanal who'd taken shrapnel in his left shoulder but refused evacuation, Private First Class Tommy Bonnyman from Georgia, who couldn't have been more than 19 and kept adjusting his helmet with nervous fingers, and 34 other Marines who'd been training for this moment for months. The night before the assault, I'd lain in my rack aboard the transport, listening to the steady thrum of the ship's engines and trying not to think about what morning would bring. The heat below decks was stifling, the kind of thick, humid air that felt like breathing through wet cotton. Around me, Marines cleaned their M1 Garands for the 10th time, wrote letters they might never send, and made the kind of dark jokes that soldiers tell when they're scared. Henderson, one of them, had called out in the darkness, "You promised to get us to that beach in one piece?" "I'll get you there," I'd replied, and I'd meant it. At 22, I'd already made more than a dozen combat landings in the Solo Mons. I knew my boat, knew the ocean, knew how to read the currents and the wind. What I didn't know was that Tarawa would teach me the difference between confidence and hubris. At 0545 hours on November 20th, the bombardment began. I was already at my position on LCVP 1442, checking the engine one final time, when the first salvo from the Maryland screamed overhead. The 16-inch shells sounded like freight trains tearing through the sky, and when they impacted Betio 3 miles away, the explosions lit up the pre-dawn darkness like lightning. For the next 3 hours, we pounded that island with everything we had. The noise was beyond description, a constant thunder that made your bones vibrate and your teeth ache. Smoke and dust rose from Betio in a column that reached toward the clouds, and through my binoculars, I could see palm trees stripped bare and concrete bunkers collapsing like houses of cards. "Look at that," Private Abaniman said, his young voice filled with awe as he watched the bombardment. "There can't be anything left alive over there." But Sergeant Ryan, who'd seen this kind of thing before at Guadalcanal, just shook his head. "Don't count on it, son. Japs are like roaches. They dig deep and they're hard to kill." At 0830 hours, the bombardment lifted and Admiral Hill gave the order we'd been waiting for: land the landing force. The first wave, Companies A and B, had already transferred to their amtracs, the new LVT-1 amphibious tractors that could crawl right over the reef and onto the beach. We watched them form up in a ragged line and start their run toward shore, their tracks churning white wakes in the blue Pacific. That's when we learned our first hard lesson of the day. As the amtracs approached the reef, Japanese artillery opened up from positions we thought had been destroyed. The enemy had built their gun emplacements deep underground, connected by tunnels, protected by layers of concrete and coral rock. Our 3-hour bombardment had been like throwing pebbles at a mountain. I watched through my binoculars as the first amtrac took a direct hit from a 75mm gun. The explosion lifted the vehicle clean out of the water, and when it came down, it was burning like a Viking funeral pyre. Marines were jumping over the sides, some on fire, some already dead, all of them 500 yards from the beach with nowhere to run but the shark-infested lagoon. "Mary and Joseph," whispered Private Bonnyman, his face pale as paper. More amtracs were hit. The lagoon filled with smoke and screaming, and the terrible sight of good Marines dying in water, too deep to stand in and too far from shore to swim to safety. Of the 125 amtracs that started the assault, only about 70 would make it to the beach. But the order came anyway. "Second wave, commence your approach." At 0900 hours, I pushed the throttle forward on LCVP 1442 and joined the second wave. 50 Higgins boats carrying the rest of the second Marines toward that coral reef and the hell that waited beyond it. The reef was even worse than it looked from a distance. What had appeared to be a simple barrier was actually a complex maze of coral heads, some submerged, some breaking the surface, all of them sharp enough to tear the bottom out of a landing craft. The tide was still dropping, and in some places, I could see the coral was completely exposed. "We're not getting over that," I called back to Sergeant Ryan. "Not in this boat." Ryan nodded grimly and turned to his Marines. "Okay, boys, looks like we're getting wet. Remember your training, stay low, keep moving, and watch for your squad leaders." I brought LCVP 1442 as close to the reef as I dared, her keel scraping against coral heads with a sound like fingernails on a chalkboard. When I couldn't go any further, I dropped the ramp. "This is as far as we go," I shouted over the noise of enemy fire, which was growing heavier by the minute. "It's 500 yards to the beach. Keep your rifles dry and your heads down." The Marines began dropping over the ramp into water that came up to their chests. Private Bonnyman was among the first, his young face set in grim determination as he held his M1 Garand over his head and started wading toward shore. Sergeant Ryan went last, pausing for a moment to look back at me. "See you on the beach, sailor," he said, and then he was gone, disappearing into the chaos of Marines struggling through the lagoon under increasingly heavy fire. That's when I made the decision that probably saved my life and definitely saved my sanity. Instead of turning back to the transport for another load, I grabbed my carbine and followed my Marines into the water. The Pacific was warm as blood and twice as salty. With each step toward shore, the water got shallower, but the fire got heavier. Japanese machine gunners in concrete pillboxes were pouring 25 caliber rounds into the lagoon, and mortar shells were dropping all around us with deadly precision. I saw Private Bonnyman take a bullet in the shoulder about 200 yards from shore. The impact spun him around, but he kept his rifle dry and kept moving. 20 yards to his left, a Marine from Company A stepped on a mine that had been placed in the shallow water. The explosion was muffled by the lagoon, but the result was horrific. A red stain spreading in the blue water, and another boy who'd never see home again. The worst part wasn't the enemy fire, though. The worst part was the reef itself. Those coral heads weren't just obstacles. They were covered with 1,000,000 years' worth of sharp edges that could slice through Marine dungarees and Navy-issue boondockers like they were made of paper. Every step was a risk of cutting yourself to ribbons, and blood in the water brought the sharks. I saw my first shark about 100 yards from shore, a gray reef shark, maybe 6 feet long, attracted by the blood and the thrashing. Then I saw another, and another. The lagoon was full of them, cruising through the chaos like they were shopping at a butcher shop. But the Marines kept moving. That's what Marines do. When I finally made it to Beach Red One, I understood the Japanese had chosen to defend Tarawa. The beach was maybe 20 yards deep before it hit a seawall made of coconut logs and coral rock, 4 feet high and perfect for defensive positions. Behind the seawall, the island was a maze of concrete bunkers, gun emplacements, and spider holes, all connected by underground tunnels. Admiral Shibasaki had turned Betio Island into a fortress that would have impressed the engineers who built the Atlantic Wall. The Marines who'd made it ashore were pinned down behind the seawall, taking casualties from snipers, machine guns, and mortars. Lieutenant Colonel Herbert Amy, commanding the 2nd Battalion, had been killed in the first minutes of the assault. Major John Shoup was trying to rally what was left of the 3rd Battalion, but they were scattered and disorganized. I found Sergeant Ryan behind a knocked-out Japanese pillbox, bandaging a shrapnel wound on his left arm, his second propelled heart of the war. "How's it look, Sarge?" I asked, though I could see the answer on his face. "We're getting our asses handed to us," he said bluntly. "But we're Marines. We'll figure it out." The problem was numbers. Of the 5,000 Marines who were supposed to land in the first 3 waves, maybe 1,500 had actually made it to the beach. The rest were either dead in the lagoon, wounded and unable to advance, or still stuck out on the reef waiting for the tide to come in. But even pinned down and outnumbered, the Marines started doing what Marines do. They adapted, improvised, and overcame. I watched Private Bonnyman, blood seeping through his dungaree shirt from his shoulder wound, crawling forward with a satchel charge toward a Japanese bunker that was holding up the entire advance. He made it to within 10 yards before a burst of machine gun fire cut him down. But the Marine behind him, I never learned his name, picked up the satchel charge and completed the mission. The bunker went up in a pillar of smoke and flame, and suddenly Company F could move forward another 50 yards. That's how we took Betio, 50 yards at a time, one bunker at a time, one dead Japanese soldier at a time. The real turning point came around 1300 hours when Colonel David Shoup, commanding the 2nd Marines, finally made it ashore. Shoup was a bulldog of a Marine, short, stocky, and absolutely fearless. He'd taken a piece of shrapnel in the leg during the landing, but he was still walking and still fighting. "All right, Marines," he shouted over the gunfire, blood seeping through his trouser leg. "We're not here to hold this beach. We're here to take this island. Follow me." Shoup organized what he had into assault teams and started pushing inland. At the same time, Lieutenant Colonel Raymond Murray's 2nd Battalion, 6th Marines, finally made it across the reef as the afternoon tide began to rise. Fresh troops, dry weapons, and plenty of ammunition, exactly what we needed. The Japanese defense began to crack. Admiral Shibasaki had planned his defense perfectly for the reef and the beach, but he'd concentrated too many of his forces in the coastal bunkers. Once we got off the beach and started moving inland, we found that the interior defenses weren't as strong. That didn't make them easy. Every bunker had to be taken individually, usually by Marines crawling close enough to drop satchel charges or flamethrower fuel through the gun ports. Every spider hole had to be cleared by hand. Every tunnel had to be explored by Marines willing to crawl into darkness with nothing but a .45 pistol and a prayer. I spent most of that first afternoon running ammunition from the beach to the advancing Marines. It was dangerous work. Japanese snipers were everywhere, and mortar rounds seemed to have a personal grudge against anybody carrying ammunition boxes. But it was necessary work, and it kept me busy enough that I didn't have time to think about how many good Marines we'd already lost. Around 1,600 hours, I was carrying a box of .30 caliber ammunition to a machine gun position when I came across Sergeant Ryan again. He was sitting behind a destroyed Japanese Type 95 light tank, smoking a cigarette and staring at something in his hands. "What you got there, Sarge?" I asked, settling down beside him. He held up a photograph, a Japanese soldier with his wife and 2 small children, all of them smiling at the camera. He'd taken it off a dead Japanese defender. "Just thinking," Ryan said quietly. "That had a family too. Kids who'll never see their daddy again." It was the kind of moment that war gives you sometimes, a sudden, sharp reminder that the enemy soldiers trying to kill you are human beings with families and dreams and fears just like your own. It didn't make us any less determined to win, but it made the victory taste different. "Yeah," I said, not knowing what else to say. Ryan put the photograph in his pocket. "Come on, sailor. We got work to do." That first night on Betio was the longest of my life. We'd taken maybe a third of the island, but we were still under constant fire from Japanese positions. Worse, we knew that Admiral Shibasaki would probably try a banzai charge during the night, a final, desperate assault designed to drive us back into the sea. The Marines dug in as best they could in the coral sand and waited. I found myself in a shell crater with 5 Marines from Company F, including Private Bonnyman, whose shoulder wound had been bandaged by a corpsman, but who refused evacuation. "I came here to fight Japs," he said when the corpsman tried to tag him for medical evacuation. "I ain't leaving till they're all dead or I am." Around 2,300 hours, they came. The banzai charge began with screaming, hundreds of Japanese voices raised in a battle cry that seemed to come from every direction at once. Then they appeared out of the darkness, bayonets fixed, charging straight into our defensive positions with the kind of fanatical courage that makes you respect your enemy even as you're killing him. The Marines met them with rifle fire, machine guns, and sheer determination. The battle was close and brutal, bayonet against bayonet, rifle butt against sword, Marine against Japanese soldier in a fight that would determine who controlled this tiny piece of coral in the middle of the Pacific. I emptied 2 magazines from my carbine in the first 5 minutes, then picked up an M1 Garand and from a wounded Marine and kept firing. Beside me, Private Bonnyman was working his rifle like a machine, his young face set in grim concentration as he dropped Japanese soldiers with precise, aimed shots. The banzai charge lasted maybe 20 minutes, but it felt like hours. When it was over, the ground in front of our positions was covered with Japanese bodies, and the night was filled with the moans of wounded men from both sides. Admiral Shibasaki was among the dead. The Japanese garrison's commanding officer had died leading his men in that final, futile charge, a soldier's death that was both tragic and honorable. By dawn on November 21st, it was essentially over. Scattered groups of Japanese soldiers continued to fight from isolated bunkers and tunnels, but organized resistance had ended with the failure of the banzai charge. It took us 2 more days to declare Betio Island secure, 2 more days of rooting Japanese soldiers out of bunkers and caves, 2 more days of dying for every yard of coral sand. But the outcome was no longer in doubt. The final count was sobering. Of Admiral Shibasaki's 4,836 Japanese defenders, only 17 were taken prisoner, most often Korean laborers who had surrendered when their Japanese overseers were killed. The rest fought to the death, exactly as they'd been trained to do. Our casualties were just as shocking, but in a different way. In 3 days of fighting for an island 2 miles long and 800 yards wide, we'd lost 1,009 Marines killed and 2,101 wounded. In my landing craft alone, of the 36 Marines I'd carried to that reef, 14 were dead and another 12 were wounded seriously enough to be evacuated. Private Bonnyman wasn't among the casualties, though he'd taken 2 more bullets during the fighting, one through his left leg on the 2nd day, and a graze across his scalp on the 3rd. He'd refused evacuation each time, and when Betio was finally declared secure on November 23rd, he was still fighting. "You're one tough Georgia boy," I told him as we waited for the landing craft that would take us back to the transports. He grinned, his young face aged by 3 days of combat. "Hell, sailor, I'm too mean to die and too stupid to quit." Sergeant Ryan had been luckier. His shrapnel wounds weren't serious, and he'd managed to avoid getting shot during the rest of the battle. But something had changed in his eyes, the 1,000-yard stare that comes to soldiers who've seen too much death and know they'll see more before the war is over. "How many more islands like this you think there are between here and Japan?" he asked as we watched the burial details working on the beach. I didn't have an answer for that. None of us did. The victory at Tarawa sent shockwaves through both America and Japan, but for very different reasons. In America, the high casualty rate for such a small piece of real estate led to questions about military leadership and strategy. Time and Life magazines published graphic photographs of dead Marines floating in the lagoon and lying on the beach, bringing the reality of Pacific War into American living rooms for the first time. "Was Tarawa worth it?" asked a headline in the New York Times. For those of us who'd been there, the question seemed almost insulting. Tarawa had been a necessary step on the road to Japan, a lesson in amphibious warfare that would save lives in future operations. More importantly, it had proven that Japanese defensive positions, no matter how well prepared, could be taken by American Marines willing to pay the price. In Japan, the loss of Tarawa was seen as a disaster that demonstrated American willingness to accept heavy casualties to achieve their objectives. If the Americans would sacrifice 3,000 Marines for a tiny atoll, what would they be willing to sacrifice for the main islands of Japan? For me personally, Tarawa changed how I understood war and my place in it. I'd gone into that battle thinking I was just a coxswain, a sailor whose job was to deliver Marines to the beach and then get out of the way. I'd come out of it understanding that in war, everyone is a combatant, everyone has a role to play, and everyone pays a price for victory. I never saw Private Bonnyman again after we were evacuated to transports, but I heard he made it through the war and went home to Georgia to marry his sweetheart and raise a family. Sergeant Ryan and I crossed paths again at Saipan and Iwo Jima, where he added 2 more Purple Hearts to his collection before finally accepting evacuation for wounds that ended his combat career. As for me, I stayed with the amphibious forces for the rest of the war, making landings at Kwajalein, Saipan, Guam, and finally Okinawa. Each battle taught me something new about war, about courage, and about the price of victory. But Tarawa was the first, and in many ways the most important. The battle that taught method courage isn't the absence of fear. It's doing your job despite being scared to death. The coral reef at Tarawa had indeed hidden something far more dangerous than sharks. It had hidden the future of the Pacific War, a future written in blood and steel, coral and sand, sacrifice and victory. Every Marine who died in that lagoon, every sailor who brought them to the beach, every soldier who fought in the bunkers, and spider holes of Betio Island contributed to a victory that brought us 1,000 miles closer to Japan and 2 years closer to the end of the war. They gave their lives for a piece of coral most Americans couldn't find on a map, but in giving those lives, they gave all of us a future worth living. That's the price of victory, and that's why Tarawa mattered. The reef still runs across the lagoon at Tarawa, brown and jagged and dangerous to navigation, but it no longer hides anything more dangerous than sharks. The Japanese bunkers have been silent for 80 years, and the coral sand beaches where Marines died are peaceful now, visited by tourists and historians who come to pay their respects to the men who fought and died there. Sometimes I wonder what Admiral Shibasaki and Colonel Shoup would think if they could see Tarawa today, a quiet tropical atoll where the biggest danger is sunburn and the biggest decision is what to have for lunch. They were enemies who never met in life, but they shared something that only soldiers can understand, the knowledge that some things are worth fighting for, some things are worth dying for, and some victories can only be won by men willing to wade through hell to achieve them. The coral reef at Tarawa taught me that lesson, and I've never forgotten it.